of the meeting. Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? I request you all to turn on your cameras as you are in the meeting, and we'll enjoy this speech marathon together. Can you please turn on your videos? Great. So very warm welcome to all of the guests and members to the speech marathon of the Gabbys Toastmaster Club. This meeting will be held for 2 hours, and all of you are requested to stay for 2 hours. You need to keep your cameras on because we would love to see your lovely faces, and audio's off. You can switch on your audio only when you're required to speak or need to speak. Now, we are a humble group. So regarding the topics of sex, religion, politics, there are no restrictions by Toastmaster International, but we at Gabbys Toastmaster Club request all the speakers and role takers to be mindful and responsible and abstain from expressing any controversial views on these sensitive topics. Also, we urge you to be cognizant of the fact that we as a club practice diversity and inclusion in letter and in spirit, hence ensure there are no sexist, racist, or any such undertones. Let me now call upon our presiding officer of the meeting, Toastmaster Yajna. Toastmaster Yajna is a journalism and mass communication student from Delhi University. She's passionate about writing engaging content that helps brand connect with their audience. Having some project-based experience with this already, she is now seeking permanent employment in this field. Over to you, Toastmaster Yajna.
Thank you for such a warm welcome. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, that was Toastmaster Chaitanya, our Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. May we have a huge round of applause for him. So, a very good evening to all of you present here. It is my pleasure to be presiding over the Gabby Speech Marathon. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the presence of all the guests to our meeting. Dear guests and visiting Toastmasters, we appreciate you joining us. I would request everyone to stay till the end of the meeting, as at the end, I will call upon for your feedback. Are there like any guests in the meeting? I see certain guests in the meeting and I love for them to give a one-liner introduction of themselves. You can just unmute yourself and give a one-liner introduction about yourself. Guest, yeah. Guest Dinesh.
Hey, good evening. My name is Dinesh. I'm a Toastmaster from Dubai with Showstoppers, and it's a pleasure being here. I've heard about Gabbys and I've come to experience the Gabby experience now. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you for your introduction. Are there any more guests in the meeting? Okay, so moving forward.
I'm here. I'm Zahra. I'm from Toastmaster Gihan's home club, Sunday Live Speakers Forum.
Nice knowing you. Thank you so much for your introduction. So moving forward, as we have some, certain time allotted to us for the meeting, so we would not be able to take each one of your introduction one by one, but we'd love to know about you. So you can use the chat function in the Zoom meeting and drop a one-liner introduction about yourself. Also, you can join the Gabby's WhatsApp group by scanning the QR code on our Zoom background. Moving on, I'd like to call the meeting to order. For the benefit of guests, I would want to reiterate that the Toastmasters is a home to people who wish to face their fear of public speaking. Not only that, if you love to connect and network with others, if you want to hone your leadership skills, Toastmasters is the place for you. It is a safe place to learn, unlearn, and relearn. We are proud to carry forward this 100 years of legacy, which is spanned over 100 plus countries. Now, I'd like to, welcome our new members of the Gabby's Club, Mr. Sandeep Belkar, Gihan Wickramasinghe, and Smriti Sagarika Mohanty. I hope I've pronounced your names correctly. So a huge round of applause for them, please. So today we are at the speech marathon and we have so many amazing speeches coming along our way today. So are we all ready? Okay, so let me call the general evaluator for today. Toastmaster Tata Subramanian. Mr. Tata is an engineer with a name that graces salt packets, cars, and trucks. An MBA graduate who followed his heart into public speaking. His passion shows through everything he shares and speaks. In his spare moments, you'll find him immersed in books, cycling, and envisioning his ideal life.
Thank you, presiding officer and MCC of this meeting, Yajna, for the warm introduction. My name is Tata Subramanian, and I am the general evaluator for this speech marathon. So let me describe a brief description about the role. As a general evaluator, I will be observing this meeting end to end and will be giving my feedback at the end of the meeting. So in order for this meeting to take place, usually we have our counters and grammarian for this meeting, but since it's a speech marathon, we don't have those role players. So I would like to introduce the timer for this meeting. So our timer, he's an electrical engineer who loves to play badminton, gardening, and he loves to do welfare charity, and he loves to cook. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Toastmaster Gihan Wickramasinghe as the timer for this one. Over to you, Toastmaster Gihan.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As the timer, I will time all the prepared speeches and all evaluations in today's session, and I will raise color cards as per the timing mentioned in the agenda for each project. I will show green card, yellow card, and red card as per the appropriate timing. And for the evaluations, there will be 2 to 3 minute allocated time, and all the prepared speeches and evaluations, there will be 30-second grace period. Then after at the end of the session, I will present my timer report. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gihan. Now I will hand over back to the presiding officer of the day, Toastmaster Yajna. Over to you.
Okay, so now let's start the first segment of the meeting, which is the prepared speeches. Let us call upon the speaker number 1. He is an accomplished, distinguished Toastmaster and VPPR of the Gabbys Toastmasters Club and the Gabbys Online Toastmasters Club. With 2 DTMs and 3 Triple Crowns and 8 parts completed, he embodies excellence in public speaking and leadership. With this, I'd like to call upon TM Sourav Dutta. Sorry, my bad, DTM Sourav Dutta. The speaker is attempting L4P2 speech in strategic relationships. The purpose of the speaker is to deliver the speech on handling a difficult audience. The speech must last between 10 to 15 minutes. The evaluator for the first speaker is Toastmaster Sai Ramachandran. DTM Sourav Dutta, knock, knock, trust, trust. Knock, knock, trust, trust, DTM Sourav Dutta.
Knock, knock. Why is this important in any kind of relationship? Because the first thing that you must do to start a relationship or stay in a relationship, whether at home, whether at work, is to show up. People cannot be in a relationship with someone that they don't know exist. And this problem is there both at work and in your personal life. If you reflect back, when you first joined a company, when you first joined any organization, when you first joined a Toastmaster club, the first thing that you needed to do is show up, be there. So today, I will be sharing with you the 4 stages of building a successful professional relationship. Stage 1, exposure. Exposure is where people know that you exist. Let me take the example of the Gabbys Toastmasters Club. How many people do we have in the club? Close to around 65, both the clubs put together. It has so often happened in our meetings that the presiding officer or one of the club officers have asked one of the members, excuse me, Toastmaster Yajna, are you a Toastmaster or a guest? Or Dinesh, are you a Toastmaster or a guest? Hi, Joane, thank you for joining the Gabbys. Are you a Toastmaster or a guest?
Last time you also asked me whether I'm a Toastmaster or a guest. You know, it's been 3 years. It doesn't look good that you are asking me. I'm your friend, doesn't mean that you can ask anything.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, but I think that's something that's outside of the context of today's discussion. So what I am talking
Nancy,
right
you know
now,
what? I was in the XCOM and he asked me also. I was in the XCOM and he's asking me if I'm a guest or a member. I was so offended. You've got to be more
That's
careful.
the point.
Yeah.
Even if you don't remember your charter members, then what do you remember? You can't expect
Nancy,
others to also.
I'll vouch for DTM Sourav. He never does that.
so thank you for all the support, Chaitanya. I really did not need the support because I know what I need to say to address this issue. And the issue is very simple. The problem that you're facing, Nancy, the problem that you're facing, Aparna, is the problem that I'm going to give you a solution to right away today.
The
So
problem
just
is
keep
that you pay
listening.
Chaitanya.
Nancy, one of the traits of being a distinguished Toastmaster, you will know that listening is as important as speaking. So for now, you have to listen. Your turn to speak will come. Please, can you please go on mute? Thank you so much. So moving on.
Are you asking me to shut up? I mean, that's rude.
No, I'm asking you to go on mute and I'm asking you to go on mute and unmute yourself, and I'll give you an opportunity to speak and ask questions at the end of the session.
The
but
right
not
to
right
speech
now.
has been violated.
Yeah, this is a point of objection.
We will take the point of order, Toastmaster.
That's
Dhwani.
point of order, Dhwani. That's not
Yes,
point of
exactly.
objection.
Point of order.
Same thing.
Let me rephrase
Are
that.
we done
It's
with the
point of
Robert's Rules
order.
of Order? Are we done with the Robert's Rules of Order? Presiding officer, may I request the Zoom moderator, request you to please mute the audience. I will come back and take your questions towards the end of this session. Let me continue with my speech here. And I hope that during the course of this speech, you will learn a few tips and tricks which will help you overcome the problem that you're talking about, that you are a part of the executive committee and someone says, are you a Toastmaster? You are attending a meeting and as a member, as a new member, probably you've won an award last week, and yet someone asks you, are you a Toastmaster? Are you a member of the Gabbys? How do you overcome this problem and why does this problem happen in the first place? This problem happens because of the lack of exposure. If you don't show up, and if you are a part of a large entity, if we were, a part of a club which has got, say, 8 members, I'm pretty sure that everyone would have known each other by face. We will not have had that problem that we face when we are a part of a larger group of audience of 60, 65 people, right? So if you are a part of a large group, a large organization, the first thing for you to do is expose yourself, let other people know that you exist, show up at work, show up at club meetings, and be there, because being there is the first step towards getting noticed.
But then what is the motivation? What is the motivation behind just...
Motivation comes in the next step, Dhwani. That's why I said you have to first listen, then maybe I will take your inputs and questions towards the end of the meeting. You will get your fair chance to ask questions. Don't worry about that. May I request you to please go on mute so that you can be actively
Yes,
listening.
thank you so much. And I'm waiting to hear what is the motivation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for you to listen, you'll first have to stop speaking and then we can continue with this. Great. So moving on, the next
Toastmaster Sourav, Dutta. So what are these 2 clubs that you have mentioned? 1 Gabbys and 2 clubs. What does that mean?
We will come to that, Toastmaster Tata. As I said, I will take all the questions towards the end of the session once I complete with my speech. Thank you. Moving on, the next step. Does showing up in effect mean everything? Is that good enough? Is that a necessary and sufficient condition, as we say in economics? Not really. It's a necessary condition, yes. It's not a sufficient condition, because just by showing up, you will never be able to make a mark. You will be noticeable. People will know that you exist. But why do you exist? What value do you bring to the table? That is something that will always be a question mark. And that's where knowledge comes in. The second step towards building a successful professional relationship is knowledge. Showcasing what you bring to the table. Showing the value that you bring in. Let me take the example of a Toastmaster club again. You join a club as a member, you're showing up in every meeting. What are you learning from here? Or what you're able to contribute to others' learnings? What are you bringing to the table? That is something that you will have to exercise your privileges, your rights, and your responsibilities as a member of the club. So for example, if you are from the field of, say, mass communication, right? If I take the example of our presiding officer today, Yajna is from mass communication background. So if she is coming in and helping the VPPR in creating a newsletter with the content writing, that is her bringing her knowledge and experience to the table. We are planning an offsite activity and we have got Sanjana, for instance, and she is one of the very accomplished badminton players. And she says, okay, let me plan for the game section of the offsite activity. That's her bringing her experience and knowledge into the field. And that's how this entire contribution of knowledge or the impact of knowledge happens in kind of building up.
Toastmaster Sourav, that what if there is a miscommunication between one of the members and the VP head or other members? So then the communication gets broken down and then the member is like, I don't want to talk about it. And there is a silos which happens within the clubs itself. And such as big as Gabby's club, I'm sure that there might be multiple silos that can happen. So how do you handle such kind of miscommunication which can happen given the magnitude of the club? And considering
very pertinent question.
Needs of
thank you, General Evaluator. Very pertinent question. Unfortunately, not relevant to the topic of the discussion today. There's always another meeting, another speech, another day when we will address this question. Today, I will park it, but I can always take this with you offline. Now, coming to the third step in terms of building a professional relationship. You have the knowledge, you are showing up. Is that good enough? No. Trust. Trust, my friend. Most of us here are here for the first time. I remember when I first met Joane in Palava Toastmasters Club, and I did not know her. My very appearance is that of a very unfriendly person. If I walk down the road, no one comes and asks me time.
Go and ask Kavin to finish studying. I'll come in just.
Yes, we can do that, Aparna, but you can go on mute, please. Thank you. Like moderator, can you help her with the mute option?
Oh, you're muting me. Okay.
Yeah, Toastmaster Aparna, can you please go on mute? We'll come back and ask your question, take your questions towards the end of the session. Coming to the trust factor, right?
Can you come again? We didn't hear you properly.
Toastmaster Tata, I will take your questions toward the end of the session. As of now, if you continue to listen, then I will be able to.
Yeah, you said something before. So can you repeat it again?
I'll do that. But if you can go on mute, then I can continue with the speech.
Sure.
Thank you. Toastmaster Dhwani, I see you unmuting yourself. I will take your question towards the end of the session. Thank you so much.
You're not even letting me speak.
We will have the question answer session towards the end of the session, right? Thank you. Moving on. The trust factor, right? As I was talking about, Toastmaster Tata, we will come back. We will come back. We will come back. Trust me. I will keep my word. One of the core values of Toastmaster is integrity, and I will stay true to my integrity. So coming back to the trust factor, when I first met Joane and the kind of an appearance I have, right? As I said, like I'm a kind of a person who, if he walks down the road, no one comes and asks me time. So obviously she did not trust me. She did not know that what to expect of this person. Okay, he brings a lot of knowledge to the table, probably. That's what she thought of me. But did she find myself as a person that she can trust? Probably not. So the next step in terms of building a professional relationship is to build the trust. How do you build the trust? By setting expectations and meeting them every time you get an opportunity. Like today, I set an expectation. I'll have a Q&A session towards the end of the speech, and I will have it. I said,
but Sourav, you have hurt me. You're talking about trust with me, yet being a dual member, I always feel that bias that I'm a dual member. I'm not accepted in Gabbys. You say that, but I feel hurt. That's not fair.
We will take that feedback. We have taken that feedback.
So please tell me how to get over this bias. Like, tell me how to establish myself as
that's the last step. That's the last step. Your question came right in the right time. Okay. So the last step is reciprocity. Like, as you rightly mentioned, Joane, that how do you get included? How do you feel inclusive? By giving back. If you remember the last time when we were releasing this roster, you had helped us with this particular meeting with so many role takers, including our general evaluator today, right? And that was your act of reciprocation. And this reciprocity, if it continues, definitely.
But it's not fair. I have to prove myself more just because I'm a dual member.
We have to prove ourselves every time in every phase of our life. Absolutely, this is not fair, but whoever said that life is fair.
I feel hurt.
Relationships are not fair. Relationships are not fair, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, but so be it. That's what life is all about. So with this, I come to the end of my
Right now,
speech.
even you are not being fair and not taking our questions.
Now I'm going to take your question. That's why I said, just now I came to the
My
end of
question
my
as
speech.
well,
Yeah.
Toastmaster.
So we
I
can do
want
one
to
after the other.
welcome our new member today.
Can we
We have
not
Shilpa's
right now,
kid.
Toastmaster Nancy, you know the Robert's Rules of Order. When the speaker is speaking, only the point of order is allowed. Welcoming a new member is against the point.
I'm not welcoming a newsletter, but point of order. We have Toastmaster Shilpa's kid on the screen.
Yes,
Fine.
so
We will
cute.
do that. We will do that later. Let's maintain the meeting decorum. And anyone has a question? Because I don't have much of a time left. So who wants to go first? May I request you to raise your hand so that we can do it in an orderly manner. So who wants to ask the first question? Instead of unmuting yourself, I would request you to raise your hand and I will take the questions in the order in which you raise your hand.
Dhwani, you had this question earlier.
As I repeated, please raise your hand virtually using the raise hand option. Yeah, I see Toastmaster Joane raising her hand. So I'll take her question first. Toastmaster Tata, you can raise your hand virtually. You'll be up next.
Yeah, so you're talking about, making a professional presence, establishing yourself in the club. But I feel every time I'm doing something, you always bring this dual member point. I think you are not being integral and true to yourself and your communication and your thoughts right now.
Feedback well taken. There's always an opportunity for us. As I said, reciprocity is a two-way traffic. If you are doing your bit and we are not, or you're feeling that we are not, then definitely we are not. See, even if we are doing and you're getting a feeling we are not reciprocating, there is an opportunity for us to work on that. Feedback well taken. The VP education, the president of the club is both.
No, I'm talking about you. I don't care about the VP education. I don't know who the VP education is.
If it is a feedback on me, I mean, it's a matter of concern that you don't care about the VP education, but I think that's something that you can take offline with her or she can take offline with you. As far as I am concerned, if it's a feedback on me, the feedback well taken, and I'll definitely work on that.
But you're not giving a solution to me. See, you're taking a feedback to yourself, but your theme today.
Joane, for the benefit of the rest of the audience, we will take this offline because it's to be more of a one-on-one connect that we need to make. So we will do a one-on-one. Okay.
But I didn't get a solution, Sourav.
Thank you. And we'll move on to Toastmaster Shilpa. She has a question.
Sourav, you said it's a family. You didn't let Nancy introduce my baby.
Yeah, we are a family, but then this is also a meeting. So we will definitely introduce each other's babies.
How is it fair? How is it fair?
That is the
I know. I'm making my child sit.
Around.
You don't even address that I have my child on my lap too. What is this partiality?
We will address each other's children very soon, but towards the end of the meeting. Can we move on to any relevant questions that we have?
What's the point of asking relevant questions? You're not even giving answers for relevant questions. That's what is the point?
Give answer to the question to the extent that it could be addressed in public, but then there are certain things, Joane, that has to be addressed in private, right?
Sourav, are you getting Misty Doi this Saturday for me?
Again, not a relevant question. Any relevant questions from anyone, or I can conclude the session today?
Okay. No question, but I just noticed this yellow card has yellow written on it also.
Very good. Nice observation. So you are an active listener. Can we have a big round of applause for Toastmasters?
That is not listening, right? That is viewing.
That is active listening. That is whole body listening. One of the best ways of doing reciprocity. Thank you.
My God. Thank you.
New learnings, right? That's why in Toastmasters. Anyone else? Any other questions, please? I've completed my speech, but if anyone of you has any question, you can please ask them.
So I have a question.
Connected to this topic.
Very connected.
Great.
I have zero motivation to wake up in the morning, let alone attend a meeting. I mean, all this exposure and all of that, like really, how is it? See, it looks very nice on a board. And when someone's giving a speech, I'm inspired, but it stops right there. No motivation to just go on. How to even make a speech? I think it's just people's, big ideas and nothing practical.
Absolutely. A great question. So positive coaching is one of the projects that I'm going to attempt very soon. And Aparna, I will be addressing this question as a part of that project. As far as this project is concerned, thank you so much for all the questions. Thank you so much for the feedback. And thank you for letting me present my speech in front of this August audience. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, just wow. I mean, I've never heard any speech such creative as such this one. So now moving forward, I would want to take upon the next speaker, speaker number 2. He's a teacher, trainer, and coach in the domain of construction. He has trained over 7,500 plus professionals in the last decade. With his coaching, he has impacted over 500 plus professionals' lives. In addition, with his experience of over 3 decades, he's a consultant who checks the health of occupied buildings. So with this, I'd like to call upon distinguished Toastmaster Nagesh Ramamurthy. The speaker is attempting L5P1 speech in persuasive influence. The purpose of the speaker is to deliver the speech on high performance leadership. The speech must last between 5 to 7 minutes. The evaluator for the second speaker is Toastmaster Anupama Venugopal. Distinguished Toastmaster Nagesh Ramamurthy, just do it. Just do it. Distinguished Toastmaster Nagesh Ramamurthy.
An audio video check. Am I audible? Thank you. Growing up, I wondered about various matters. More importantly, how do people learn? How do I grow? How do people get better? And how do people excel? While in my teens, I was told that growth follows education. When I was an adult, I realized that growth is in earning. But when I was 50 plus, I learned that sharing also leads to growth and learning, a crucial collaboration component. I grew up learning from family, friends, and failures. In every role that I have taken, I've been taught by those who have played this role earlier. One excels after learning from those who have trekked that path. It is peer learning. In Toastmasters, there are 3 chances in an year for people to take up leadership roles and learn, serve, and then excel. 2 such opportunities are when people take club officers' roles, those 7 roles. Many of them are unaware of the road ahead. Some are uninformed about the pitfalls. Few are insensible to the directions. To a large extent, I would say an empowered leader is indeed an efficient leader. It is an exceptional initiative by Toastmasters to prepare the club leaders, to empower them through training to be efficient. These trainings are conducted twice a year after officers take charge. Various districts of 13 regions of Toastmasters conduct these trainings. Understand another aspect here. During COVID, online was very common. We all know that. Many Toastmasters saw that as an opportunity and attended club meetings in several clubs far and wide. Another opportunity that Toastmasters are utilizing is clubs with members from various geographies. Look at this club, Gabbys. Both the clubs have members from Mumbai, Gurgaon, Jharkhand, Sri Lanka, and now even US. Several corporates, Toastmasters worldwide has embraced online and hybrid. Toastmaster International conventions are also hybrid. Many clubs are entirely online or hybrid to serve their members. Such clubs are over 92%. There are very few clubs in our district which are fully offline. In Division B, where I head it as division director, there is just one club that meets offline fully. Added to this is members in one geography are clubs officers in another geography. Division B has club officers in Mumbai, Dubai, and north of India. Few questions to think. How does district cater to 166 clubs, train 1,100 plus officers if they don't plan well? How does one attend the training if planners hesitate to embrace hybrid and online training? Is it easy to spare your weekend for Toastmasters training that is for 4 hours, where even the notoriety of Bangalore roads, you spend the entire day for it? Given the spread of Bangalore, will 2 or 3 locations to conduct in-person officer training serve everybody? What about the officers of clubs which are in north of Karnataka? Officers from Mumbai, Dubai, or Bokaro? How will they attend the offline training? What about those who are traveling on work? And the most, think about this. What about those who are immobile? Aren't we denying them an online option where we conduct just offline trainings? Where there is diversity, there needs to be inclusion. Can we sit back and wait for someone to take decisions based on attendance of offline meetings, trainings? Can we sit back and allow people to look up to us and we just show helplessness? As leaders, can we not disrupt and do something no one has dared to attempt, yet be within the framework of the values? The challenge is, how do we address these issues to help club officers gather knowledge, experience, and clubs get their DCP points? Simple. Do it yourself. Just do it. The goal is to create an opportunity where every officer to get trained by those who have served the Toastmasters well. The plan is to conduct an online club officers training program, announce the schedule well in advance so that people register, allow them to plan their personal and family time. The challenge, the mind says, do it yourself. Just do it. But can we? The vision, plan excellently, promise exclusivity, and deliver excellence. How did we get the support? How are the challenges managed? What was the feedback? Did we deliver excellence? All about those on how did we do it in my second speech, where I will say, I'm loving it. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
What an amazing speech. As we all agree, and you have totally mentioned that both diversity and inclusion go hand in hand. So you are an inspiration for all of us present here. And I always look forward to listen to your speeches. So on this note, let's move on to our next speaker. Speaker number 3. She's a content writer. She's a content writer and a passionate reader, an introvert who finds joy in conversation. And she immerses herself in diverse music genres and languages, while her free evenings are spent treasure hunting in vintage book and stationery stores. Hailing from Mumbai, she cherishes the sunrises and sunsets at Marine Drive. On this note, I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Joane Joseph. The speaker is attempting L5P1 speech in dynamic leadership. The purpose of the speaker is to deliver the speech on the lead in any direction. The speech must last between 8 to 10 minutes. The evaluator for the third speaker is Toastmaster Zahra Mazrook. Toastmaster Joane Joseph, answer the call. Answer the call, Toastmaster Joane Joseph.
I will answer the call, Yajna. Thank you. And I did answer the call 6 months back when someone back in my community club said, Joane, would you take a leadership role? Unwillingly, grudgingly, I answered that call. And that answer changed my life. But before I say what that call is, let me ask you guys a question. How many of you love to be a leader, want to be a leader, love it, like the title, the leadership, the fame that comes with it, show of hands, virtual hands, anything. Okay, a lot of people like to be leader. Is there anyone in this group who doesn't like to be a leader? Who's like, no, thank you. Okay, am I in a group of people who are like great leaders because this is Gabbys? Ah, thank you, Karthik, I saw you. It's very difficult virtually, to see people raising their hands. But I am one of those. I don't like to be a leader. I like to be a follower. Let the leader take the role. Let him take his responsibilities and follow and help out. That has always been my go-to motto. Until 6 months back, I was asked to become the VP PR of my community club. VP PR, someone who has to be good at public relationships. And this is the biggest joke of the century. You know why? I have not even a single social media account. I'm not there on Instagram. I'm not there on Facebook, TikTok. I don't even know what all apps you have. I don't even have a LinkedIn account. So when the president came and said, Joane, will you be a VP PR? I said, he has gone a little cuckoo. Of course, not on his face. In my mind, I told him, sir, I am an anti-social media person and you're asking me to be the VP PR. How is this going to work? He said, you know what, Joane, I understand, but we need to fill the numbers. We need to give the name at Toastmaster International. So you don't do anything, just give your name for the sake of the title. And I said to myself, well, this is like, asking to arrange the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. The ship is anyways going to sink, but the president still wants to arrange the chair beautifully. I said, fine, not. Anyways, if I'm going to sink, let me sink together. Fine, I'll be the VP PR. I answered that call to become the VP PR. And then my life was not heavenly, it was hell. Because then I started getting calls. Where is the poster for the meeting? I started getting calls. You know what? I have completed level 4. You are not recognizing my achievement. And I started getting calls. The Instagram account, that's defunct, dead. I went to my president, I said, sir, you said it's just a namesake thing. Why are people calling me? He told me, you know what? Hindi mein, kar lo. Try, whatever it is. I didn't have a predecessor to go back and ask what to do with a VPPR time. But even though I don't want to be a leader, I don't like being criticized. So I Googled, started studying and learning on my own how to make posters. And the poster that you can see behind me, not even 10% of that talent I've got or have learned. But still I can, publish posters. So, okay, I did well. Last week, I took a 360-degree evaluation of my stint as a VPPR. I gave the evaluation sheet to a couple of colleagues and I said, you know what, guys, give me an evaluation how I did. Now, I was expecting they'll be like, Joane, you did average. You did a good job. But to my surprise, I got a very good feedback. 5 out of 5 maximum. A couple of 4s here and there. And the consistent feedback I got is, you're a really good leader. Just take a little more initiatives. You have answered all the calls. Just start making calls and learn to delegate. I was sitting with myself and saying, God, I have now been stuck in this leadership journey. What to do? I have never even thought of becoming a leader. So what is a leader? Who is a leader? How to lead in any and every situation? This was the question that came to my mind. And yesterday I was having a podcast and there was a guest speaker who was speaking about the hero's journey. And that is when the Eureka moment came. He said there are 3 journeys that a hero takes. Number 1, where the hero, he goes and fights with the monsters. Monsters, external monsters, bureaucracy, your parents maybe, your spouse, your children, your boss. Internal monsters, your fear, shame, anxiety, depression, we all have them. And you become a hero when you fight those monsters. The second journey that a hero can take is a quest to acquire something, fame, success, a position, treasure, TCP points. If you are a VP education, that's a very important quest. Making your club a diamond club. And the third journey a hero can take is a journey of transformation. If you have watched the movie Chak De, if you have watched the movie Blindside, you know what I'm talking about. Transforming yourself or transforming someone else's life. These are the 3 major journeys a hero can take. And when I reflected upon these journeys, I realized when you put together all of these journeys, you get a leader. A leader is someone who has to fight monsters if called upon. Whether that's your president of the club. No, my president is here right now and he's not a monster. He's a lovely sweetheart. But still, some presidents can be monsters. Whether that's your VP education coming and always telling you, you know what? Finish your path, give the speech. I want the DCP points. You are a leader if you're asked to go on a quest and acquire something for the club. Your mentor will call you up and say, you know what? Start practicing. We need a podium finish in the contest. Or give a very good speech. People are coming from outside. We need to start increasing the membership. So make sure your speech is fantastic. You need to inspire people. You're also a leader when you're called upon to transform someone else's life. Inspire people. And as a leader, my friends, you have to do all of this together, not one at a time. So a leader is a hero in any and every situation, and a creator of heroes. So that when he steps out, there is someone else who is continuing this journey, fighting, playing the game, keeping the ball rolling. This changed my perspective of being a hero. From being a follower, I realized it's not bad to be a hero. Fame aside, the positions and title aside, the fact is, when I started my hero's journey, accidentally, I started transforming myself. I joined Gabbys because I became a VPPR. As a VPPR in my club, I had to connect with different clubs. And that is when I came across Gabbys. And that is when I saw, wow, this is a great club. Let me join. I became a district champion, not to brag, but I did in my first year. Why? Because I answered the call when in my district, there were no one to take up the mantle of becoming a table topic speaker. I really didn't want to go and become a table topic speaker. Every member in my club knows this. When table topic speech was going on, I said, no, I'm the second runner-up. I'm not going for the area contest. I would rather be a contest chair. I like being a contest chair, you know. I like talking, and people who know me know that I love talking. So rather than competing, I'll go and talk. But then I was pushed because we needed to fill the numbers. We needed to fill the numbers of the participants going for the table topic contest. And I became a champion of District 98 table topic contest. Same happened in evaluation. I didn't want to go for the evaluation championships. I was pushed because there was no one else from our club. And then I became a division champion of evaluation. I'm not here to brag about my accomplishments. No. What I want to talk about is the power of answering the call. You may want to be a leader. You may not want to be a leader. That's your choice. But when life gives you these calls, right? Answer them. You never know. One answer can change your life as it has changed mine. At last, I just want to give you one last message. A journey of 1,000 miles. Start with a single step. Everybody knows this proverb. This proverb was taken from Tao Te Ching, a philosophical book, a very famous book from China. But this is a phrase. There is a second line to this phrase that not many people know about. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one single step. So answer the call of your destiny and start the journey. Answer the call of your destiny and start the journey. And you may end up being a leader, a follower, or hero. Doesn't matter. When you answer that call, you will be transformed. Thank you, and back to you.
What a great speech, Toastmaster Joane. A great take on the topic. And as you said, we all must confront our fears and overcome them, you know, to get the best out of ourselves. Or as you mentioned, become the leaders. With moving on, let's go to our fourth speaker. Our fourth speaker is a behavioral and leadership trainer. She found her ikigai through her job with the Akshay Foundation. She facilitates training programs across India that upskills and motivates the frontline workers of her organization. And to upskill herself, her only go-to place is the Toastmasters. With this, I welcome Toastmaster Lakshmi Sujatha. The speaker is attempting L5P1 speech in visionary communication. The purpose of the speaker is to deliver the speech on develop your vision. The speech must last between 5 to 7 minutes. The evaluator of the fourth speaker is distinguished Toastmaster Akshay Singh. Toastmaster Lakshmi Sujatha, inclusive learning. Inclusive learning, Toastmaster Lakshmi Sujatha.
Learning is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity for growth, the growth of an individual, growth of the organization, and ultimately the growth of the country. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. As the L&D manager of an organization that strives every single day to provide hot, nutritious meals to over 2 million kids pan-India, it is our responsibility, or rather the responsibility of the Learning and Development Department of the Akshay Patra Foundation to ensure that our employees are engaged, motivated, and they feel belonged and valued at the place of their work. In order to achieve all this, the Learning and Development Department of my organization came up with our vision. And today, I would love to share this vision with all of you. Our vision for the organization or the Learning and Development Department is to provide an inclusive learning platform that will enable and empower our employees to become a catalyst to reach the organization's vision. I would love to repeat this once again: to provide an inclusive learning platform that will enable and empower our employees to become a catalyst to reach the organization's vision. Let me break this down a little further and add a few aspects on why we came up with this vision. To provide an inclusive learning platform. Now, why do I say inclusive? As I mentioned, the organization provides more than 2 million meals every single day to children pan-India. Now, how do we achieve this? We achieve this with a small team of 8,000 employees. Out of these 8,000 employees, it is just the 1,500 of us who has the luxury to be sitting in the AC rooms, taking care of the administration, the HR, finance teams. The rest, 6,500 of our employees are the floor staff. When I say floor staff, they are the ones who ensure the cleaning, the vegetables are cut on time, the food is distributed on time, our drivers, our maintenance staff, and many more. Our security. Now imagine if I present a PPT like this to those 6,500 of our employees who are just or probably 10th class. Most of them are not even 10th class. Would they understand? Would they even engage with our conversation? They wouldn't, because they wouldn't understand what we are trying to teach them, even if we talk to them in their vernacular language. So, to make it more inclusive, to ensure that not just the 1,500 of us who are the administrative part of the organization, even the 6,500 of us, the other 6,500 gets that opportunity to learn. We have come up with a model called as learn through entertainment, where we use, movie clippings, games, activities to give out a message that they would like. And that is where the inclusive learning platform comes in. The second part of the vision states, enable and empower our employees to become a catalyst. As I already mentioned, learning is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. So when each one of our employees gets to know something each day, when they learn something each day, it is indirectly going into the plate of the child, who might, it might be the first meal for that child. In such cases, one of the main focus area for the organization is to reduce the cost per meal. That is, the amount of money we are spending on each meal. So if we can enable our employees, they would come up with ideas, brilliant ideas that would help them reduce this cost per meal, which would in turn help us feed more kids. And now coming to the last part of the vision, which is to meet the organization's vision. And what is the organization's vision? The organization's vision is that no child in India shall be deprived of education because of hunger. And what is our mission? To feed 3 million children by 2025. So overall, the Learning and Development Department of the Akshay Patra Foundation wants to work hand in hand with the organization's mission and vision to ensure that we provide an inclusive learning platform for our employees so that they become an enabler themselves. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking about my organization's vision here? I'm doing this because if you would like to see such beautiful smiles on the children who go to the government school, this is an invite to all of you. If you would like to collaborate with us, with your expertise in the manufacturing, IT, operations, HR, and if you would like to volunteer with our organization to conduct these trainings for us. This is an open invite to each and every one present here. And we are ready to collaborate with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lakshmi, for such a great and motivational speech. You not only made us aware about the inclusive learning, but also made us learn how to practice it. So thank you so much. On this note, I would like to call upon our last speaker for the day, who is also the youngest speaker for the day, our speaker number 5. She is a student of IIT Varanasi and is currently pursuing her BTech and MTech in maths and computing. She loves riding. She loves reading her dad's Meteor, playing badminton, reading books on business, trekking, and waveboarding. She is keen to start her own brand that will bring about a positive change in the society. The speaker is attempting L3 P1 speech in persuasive influence. The purpose of the speaker is to deliver the speech on understanding conflict resolution. The speech must be between 5 to 7 minutes. The evaluator for the 5th speaker is Toastmaster Shilpa Reddy. Toastmaster Sanjana, conflict. Conflict, Toastmaster Sanjana.
Before I begin, am I visible? Am I audible? Okay. Yajna, Toastmaster Yajna, can you just repeat the title?
Conflict.
Fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests, isn't it a very pleasant day today? You all look so very beautiful. But I'm scared. I'm scared that my speech title doesn't. Conflict. Be it our father curling up his mustache because we got low grades in school, or our date peering at us because we are late, or even worse, our mother-in-law bursting at us because we forgot to add that little pinch of salt in the dinner dal. Whenever we speak about conflict, we picture a formidable opponent, fists clenched, on its toes, agile and alert, eyes blazing with anger and frustration, determined to overpower. Same was my notion too. When I was leading a group of 5 entrepreneurs on a project named Pre-Love, an e-commerce for second-hand clothes, we had a solid social media campaign in place, headed by Ria and Yash, pseudonyms of course, according to which we had to post each and every day on our Instagram page. It went very smoothly for a week. We got great reach and engagement. But after a week, things started to take a turn. A post was being sent once in 2 days. And after 2 weeks, a post was sent once in 3 days. Something had to be radically wrong. I immediately called up Priya and asked, "Hey Ria, we have added close to 0 followers in the last 1 week. Don't you understand the importance of posting regularly?" And Ria broke down. "Sanjana, me and Yash are not able to finalize on any design. Whatever I say, he opposes. It's just not working between the two of us." And she cut the call. I was left in utter disbelief. There was an internal conflict brewing up without my notice. I had to take ownership of the situation as the leader. So I called for a meeting between both of them, and Ria began. "The post designed by Yash is so very gimmicky that if we put that out on our Instagram page, it'll make us look like fools." "What? Did you just say fools? You are a fool." And the post made by Ria, it's so somber that it'll put anybody to sleep. Oh my God. This had been going on between both of them for the last 3 weeks. The heat was building. The fighter was getting ready to pounce at any time. But I was just hoping both of them knew their boundaries, though. I had to get to the root of the problem. So I called each of them individually and asked to tell their problems that I could get to the root of it. And I realized that both of them have very different perspectives about design, which in fact are very opposing. They just couldn't work together. Yes, this was the reality, and I had to accept it. So I crafted a plan and I called for a meeting between both of them and said, "From tomorrow onwards, both of you will get to individually embrace the platform and flaunt your design skills. Posts designed by Ria will go out on odd days, and those designed by Yash will go out on even days." Both of them agreed and appreciated the decision. After 1 week, the results were actually showing up. Our Instagram page was like a wonderbox of creativity with 2 unique styles, one funky and the other formal. Our engagement skyrocketed. It went boom. So I called for a meeting between both of them to congratulate them. And do you know what they said in the meeting? Both of them exclaimed, "Yes, we did it!" Did you hear that? Ria and Yash just said "we" and not "I." This made my day. I did resolve a conflict that, if not attended to, would have sent my team crippling down. But I have always wondered, is there any set procedure to resolve a conflict? And the good news is, yes, there is. And I stumbled upon it just a week ago when I was listening to the speech by Claire Canfield on the beauty of conflict, where he introduced the vocab of resolving a conflict. V for vulnerability. Put the guard down and let yourself be seen. O for ownership. Learn to take ownership of the situation. C for communication. Don't tell. Ask and listen. A for acceptance. Accept the reality. B for boundaries. Know your boundaries and limits. So for me, a conflict is no longer that fighter who is ready to pounce and put up a fight. It is a chance to introspect. Look at my essential self, a doorway of opportunity, the first ray of light after a dark night. What do you want it to be for you? Thank you.
Wow, what a speech. There's never a dull moment when it comes to your speeches, TM Sanjana, and great going. There's always this need to hear more and more of your speeches. It's like a roller coaster journey for me from the beginning till the very end. Great. With this, we come to the end of the first segment of the meeting, which was prepared speeches. Some wonderful speeches heard, some good ideas heard, and some insights taken. On this note, before moving forward, I'd like to call upon the timer and ask whether all the speakers were within the time limit or not.
Yes, all the speakers was within the time.
Excellent. Moving on, I'd like to call upon our general evaluator for the day for their evaluation.
Thank you, presiding officer. So now we will start with the next phase of the meeting, which is the evaluation part. So for the speaker number 1, I would like to call the evaluator Toastmaster Shilpa Reddy. She's an image consultant and a corporate coach who is a travel buff. She loves music and enjoys riding bikes. So over to you, Shilpa Reddy.
Tata, speaker number 1 was DTM Sourav.
Okay, yeah. For DTM Sourav, Shilpa Reddy, right? Evaluator.
No, Sai is evaluator.
No, it's Sai.
Okay. Okay. I got the evaluator 2. Sorry, evaluator 2, Sai Ramachandran. Sai is the president of BKC Fireflies Toastmaster, which is called as the small wonder from Mumbai. He was an evaluation contest finalist at Eloquence 2023 and loves sandwiches, both the peanut butter and the jelly variety, and the evaluator's favorite CRC variety. So over to you, Sai Ramachandran.
DTM Sourav, knock knock. What a metaphor. What a way to start a speech about showing up with the perfect metaphor for the act of arriving somewhere. Knock knock. Great start. Delivery, self-confidence, self-assurance, control of the audience, top notch. And that's why, among the other reasons why you're a DTM, that's one of the reasons why you're a DTM and why your speech was amazing to listen to. But like I said, I like certain sandwiches, one of them being the CRC. And since you're a DTM, I'm going to use the uppercase R and keep the C small. So here's all the good parts of your speech. The metaphor was great. The speech construction was great. The 4 points you made were great. But let's get to the meat of the evaluation, which is feedback on how you handled a tough audience. Now, as a person on screen, You are the face of the organizers of this meeting at that moment. You have a lot of things going for you. For example, the Zoom master, the tech master, the host of the meeting is working for you to make your speech better. But when you were interrupted, many times, it felt to me that you were appealing to authority. You could have used humor and maybe a little bit of psychology to use the energy of the audience to tame them. For example, a smile on your face when somebody interrupted you, or acknowledging that somebody was feeling slighted, especially people whose children were on screen and they were feeling ignored, would have worked wonders. You did all those things, but what was missing was that human connection. It's important to acknowledge that these are real people. These are people you meet every week during your meetings. But this is a test bed. This is a place where you can test these strategies of controlling an audience which is not working for you, which is not in your favor, which is not your friend. And I think a few of the things you could have done were to use a more friendly approach to handling situations where people are interrupting you. There was noise in the audience. There was people talking about stuff that was not relevant to the topic at hand. There was quite a bit of work that needed to happen in order to manage the situation to an extent where the speech could be delivered in the way it was supposed to be delivered. I think those aspects of audience management were missing in your speech. As an evaluator, I have a job. I'm supposed to evaluate whether you actually met your speech objectives or not. My opinion is that you did not. You did not manage the audience. That's the honest feedback me as an evaluator can give you. The audience were people in your club, people who've known you from before. And even then, I saw you lose control, you interrupt them in the middle of when they were protesting about you ignoring them. There was a lot that needed to be done that could have been done better, and it was not done. I loved the structure, the delivery, the content. The project objectives, I did not love so much. And that is my feedback to you. I leave it to you. You're a seasoned Toastmaster. You know what you want to do with your speaking progress. I would challenge you, though, to repeat the speech at the same club with the same interrupters, but handle it with a little more finesse, a little more poise. And I think your audience, you will realize the change in dynamic when the audience is actually working with you. When people are getting, they know that you can control the audience and get them to shut up and let you finish your speech without having to use harsh language. Like, hey, listen, you need to listen to me before you speak. Those were rude, honestly. And that's what I would say, do it again. You can do it. I've seen you give very, very good speeches, which are inspiring and moving. Keep your audience with you next time. Don't let them go against you or be on the opposite side of the table with you. You need to have them with you, just like you have the management of this meeting with you. You need to have the audience with you as well. So that's my challenge to you. Back to you, evaluator, general evaluator. That's my time.
Thank you so much, Sai, for the splendid evaluation. So what you have used is the CRC approach, and you had given some very valid points. I would like to say that Toastmaster Sai, you had mentioned about him handling the audience and everything, which is a very critical feedback that you have given. In my opinion, I felt that Sourav Dutta had handled the audience pretty well. Again, that is my opinion. It varies. It can vary across. So you have followed it very well. You were very empathetic when you were saying about DTM Sourav's points. Just one suggestion is that sometimes your word rate goes very fast. So I could not understand some of the words that you were speaking. You can just slow it down a little bit. Your natural way of speaking is fine, just a little bit. Otherwise, a fantastic evaluation. In the last meeting also, I really liked your evaluation. So please keep it up. And for the Toastmaster Sourav, you had, it was initially I thought it was not deliberate, but rather like everyone is interrupting it until I came to know from Nancy Goel that this is an interruption. So in my opinion, you had handled it pretty well. Just one thing I would like to suggest is that if you are taking some points from someone, let's say I will get back to the end of the meeting, probably you could have addressed that. So for example, you could have addressed my query at the end of the meeting. maybe you could not keep track of it because there were so many people who are asking you. So I think that would be my suggestion. Otherwise, a fantastic speech, Sourav. Thank you so much. Now, moving on to the next evaluator, I would like to call evaluator Anupama. Anupama is a corporate lawyer and she's the past president of LA 1924. She's the new member to Gabbys Toastmasters. So over to you, Anupama, for your evaluation.
Thank you, Toastmaster Subramaniam. Good evening, everyone. And yeah, it's my first evaluation here, and it's definitely a pleasure listening to all of you here. Congratulations, DTM Nagesh. You just did it. And you know, I have heard a lot of HPL speeches, and this subject that you chose was very intriguing, especially because of the fact that you are thinking of having a complete online TLI meeting to ensure that people who don't get the opportunity to be there in person also get an opportunity to get trained. And I think throughout your speech, you were very clear about what your goal was, what your plan was, how you intended to reach the vision, and the entire, you know, the roadmap of how you wanted to reach there. Though there were some points which I will come to later on when I talk about certain points of improvements. And I think what was very clearly articulated was how you plan to achieve these would be actually addressed in your next speech, because the speech itself calls for you to only talk about your vision and goals and subsequently move on in the next speech to talk about how you managed to do it. And I think there you did a wonderful job. So if you ask me whether the purpose of the speech was met, it was definitely met. In terms of a few suggestions that I would like to give someone like you, you're a highly accomplished speaker, DTM, and I'm sure there are a lot of things that you yourself have gained through in these past years. You are one person who is suggesting online meetings and suggesting that you know, opportunities should be given to people to express themselves through online forum. One thing that I realized was throughout your speech, you were not focusing on the camera. There were many instances where your eyes used to go down and gave the person who's listening to you the impression either you were looking at something or you were distracted by something. So maybe that's something you can look at, because it's very, you know, in a physical meeting, it's very easy when we're looking at each other and we know that we can actually connect with the listeners. Here, I felt that connect was something that was missing. The purpose also called you to talk about your support system to achieve your plans and goals. And I felt that there you could have been a little more specific as to what is your support system to achieve these goals. Except that it was a wonderful speech. Your confidence was amazing. Your body language, fantastic. Your voice modulation was very good. And the topic that you've chosen, you know, this is just a challenge that I want you to think about next year, is about Toastmasters. And you know, there's a lot that we can laugh about ourselves. So if when you're actually taking it to the second level in your speech, it would be great if you can bring in some humor and, you know, make it a much better speech and take it to the next level. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, Anupama. So a few pointers. I would like to say that it's an excellent, very constructive evaluation that you had given. And what I like about the previous evaluator and about you is that you have gone till past the you know, the 3 minutes mark. Your 3:30 is your maximum mark. It's always good that you are going past the 3-minute mark and challenging the time. So that shows that there's a lot of analysis that you have done for the speech. You have followed the CRC approach, and it was very constructive in which you had given the feedback. So I would say that if there is any improvement that you want to suggest, maybe you can also give some examples to the speaker as to how that can be improved. So that would be to challenge yourself. And for the speaker, I would say that I really like the quote that where there is a diversity, there is an inclusion. So that's a very fantastic point the speaker had mentioned. So as an evaluator also, you can highlight some of those lines, which also speaker would say that, okay, that, you know, it has been advised. So a fantastic evaluation, I would say. So thank you so much. Now, let me call upon the next evaluator for the speaker, Joane. So I would like to call Toastmaster Zahra. She's an electrical engineer and a lecturer. And she's a Toastmaster since 2019. She's the past president for Sunday Live Speaker Forum Club and an area director for H3 District 82. She has also won IET Young Women Engineer of Sri Lanka in 2019. So over to Toastmaster Zahra for your evaluation.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So, Toastmaster Joane Joseph, it's important that you answer this call sometimes that you get in life. I think you chose a very appropriate topic for your speech, first of all. That topic itself created some kind of curiosity in me. What kind of call is she talking about? And then I felt like you and I are quite similar because I'm also a reluctant leader. I take the leadership only when there is no one else or when I am like forced to take on the leadership. But when I take the leadership, just like you, I try to make my utmost bit out of the opportunity. So we are similar, and you, I think, really engaged and related with the audience who have the similar attributes when it comes to reluctant leadership. Apart from that, I noticed that you had a good flow in your speech and fantastic humor, even when you compared the club situation to a sinking ship like Titanic, which is the common scenario in most of the clubs that are struggling. And when it comes to taking up the public relationship loan, you explained the difficulties and challenges any VPPR encounters as a first-time VPPR, because I had to go through that as well. And believe me, creating flyers is still a tough job, and still it needs a lot of improvement in my case as well. So you engaged and you related and you kind of, I don't know, you built that rapport with me, and I believe that you rebuilt that same rapport with the audience as well. And when you said that you are one of the district champions in table topics, it just went on to prove how good a speaker you are. And your message, fantastic message. I could extract two messages from your speech. First one is answer the call. Whatever the situation is, even it is unpleasant or you are not willing to answer that call, you have to answer the call. And when you answer the call, you have to go through the challenge and work till you prove that you are in the best position that you can be. And the final thing that you could take is, as a leader, we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be human. So where can we improve your speech and take it to the next level so that you can become the champion in prepared speeches as well, international or humorous? So what I noticed is your hand gestures, hand movements, you had them, but you could have made them a little bit more purposeful. Like instead of moving the hands round and round or in vague movements, when you say hero, you could have used hero or hero. And when you say some things like put them all together, put them all together. So those hand movements, for example, Toastmaster Lakshmi had those hand movements in a very purposeful, well-crafted manner, so we can learn from her as well. The next thing that I thought was, you could work with a little bit on the pauses, because sometimes when we speak, you and I, we are same. When we speak a lot, but pauses are very strong when we convey the message. So when you conclude, especially when you conclude your speech, you can say, a journey of 1,000 miles, start with a single step. And then you can conclude it very strongly like, so Toastmasters, are you ready to take that call? So these are my comments, and I think I'm running out of time. So I wish you all the best with your future speeches, and I would like to see you as a district champion in international speech or humorous speech.
Thank you, Evaluator Zahra, for the fantastic evaluation. A few points I would like to mention. So you had followed again the CRC approach, and you had mentioned also the examples of Joane's speech where you liked it, and also the examples where how she could improve. So that is a very fantastic point. When it comes to timing, so you had more suggestions to give, so but you had ran out of time. So what I would suggest is that since we have a lot of suggestions in a speech, in evaluation speech, you can pick up the top 2 that you feel that it is most relevant at that point to speak, so that the speaker is most beneficial. From the rest, you can also share it on one-on-one or personally. So you can have 3 good suggestions and then 2 improvements, so that you have time for also wrapping up to summarize. Because it's also important that you summarize the points so that the speaker remembers about the good points as well as the points for improvement. Overall, I really liked the evaluation that you had given. It was very empathetic and it was very encouraging. So thank you so much. For Joane, I would like to mention that you had given a very fantastic speech. I've listened to your speeches in the past as well. So this is again a very call to action that you have given, and you have prompted me to thought about. One thing I would like to suggest is that you use the power of pauses. So you can emphasize pauses at different intervals of your speech so that it can become more impactful. What I felt was that you had your word rate was very fast and you did not give appropriate pauses, which could have been better. So overall, a fantastic speech. Thank you so much. Now moving on to the next evaluation. I would like to call the evaluator DTM Akshay Singh for the evaluation.
So Tata, I'm visible and audible, right?
Yes, you are.
Good evening, fellow dear Toastmasters. Today our speaker, Lakshmi, ensured that she utilized her skill sets of her chosen path, which is visionary communication, and become a visionary speaker to share the vision about her organization and how inclusive learning she has adopted to make possible the mission, which is of feeding 3 million children, a reality. Definitely, her speech helped me make a decision, and I am saying openly over here that I'm looking forward to collaborate as a volunteer, and I accept your invitation. Let me share with members of the meeting as to how I made my decision with the vision approach which I want to use to share what are the points which I really loved about the speaker's speech. First one, visionary approach, sharing the vision of the organization, repeating twice to make it sure it gets registered in the minds of the audience because we are on an online platform. The visual aid of PPT helps it register better, and then breaking it down into multiple parts and explaining each of the parts done very well. The second aspect, which is the inclusive approach, with emphasis on voice modulation for words of importance, dividing for whom the inclusive learning is adopted with 1,500 and 6,500, usage of triads like individual, organization, and country. Slow down when mentioning numerical facts, which helped me register all the content seamlessly. The third aspect, which I really loved about the speech, was the social approach, with that effective eyes gesture as well as hand gestures, which were continuously there sprinkled throughout the speech, which invited collaboration from all, acts as an amazing call of action for the audience. Because once you have shared the vision, you want the audience to act upon it. So that was really done well. Toastmaster Lakshmi, every speech which you give, and when you share a vision, I believe there are a lot of opportunities which I felt in certain aspects that you can make your vision more compelling and resonate with our audience. The first one is inform. You mentioned about the inclusive learning and said that we do a lot of entertaining games, movies, and different activities. I would have loved if you could have informed me as to what all different activities you have taken up to make the vision more credible. The second, which is the observant. Observant audiences like me, when I'm listening to your speech, you mentioned your vision statement and showed it to me right there on the screen. But a couple of times you missed few words. As a Toastmaster, we are very pertinent to the vision of Air Club mission statement. So when you are sharing about your vision, I want it to be accurate because you somewhere meant reach and meet the organization. Two difference which I felt. So that is something which you can work upon. The third aspect was notable visual aids, such as 1,500 and 6,500. If it was on 2 slides or 2 play cards, it would have helped. There are a lot of different opportunities in your speech. Overall, Lakshmi, I'm sure you delivered a fantastic vision, and I'm sure I'm looking forward to collaborate with you because of your visionary, inclusive, and social approach. Incorporating inform better, be observant to what you are sharing, and usage of notable visual aids. I'm sure the next time you deliver the speech, it will be a compelling speech. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, DTM Akshay Singh, for such a stellar evaluation. I just forgot you to give you a proper introduction. So DTM Akshay Singh is a data engineer and an active Toastmaster who has held various officer roles and has mentored and sponsored the clubs. He's currently a charter member of two clubs, which is one is the All Elite Advanced Toastmasters, and the other one is Goregaon Speakers Community, and is serving there as a Vice President of Education. In his free time, Akshay enjoys poetry, cycling, solving Rubik's Cubes, and collaborating with Toastmasters worldwide. So DTM Akshay, as stellar as your achievements are, your evaluation has been stellar as well. So what I liked about your approach was you have been very encouraging when you spoke about the achievements of the speaker, the pros of the speaker. And even when you were describing the improvements, you were very empathetic. You were very analytical with every body gesture, and you were examining the content part of the speech. So you were very, very critical about it. I also like the way you have shared the screen as well about the vision, which I really liked, which also connected with the vision which the speaker was talking about. So a fantastic one that you have done. I would look forward to more evaluations like this. Thank you so much, DTM Akshay. Now for the speaker, I really liked the approach that you had used about the using of the PPT and showing the vision and breaking down the vision into multiple parts as to explain it. What I would also suggest the speaker to have the pictures maybe of the members, the 6,500 members. Maybe you could have shown 1 or 2 pictures of them as well. Maybe the truck driver, maybe the floor cleaner, maybe the security guard to enhance better impact for the speech. So that's it from my side. Let's move on to the next evaluation. Now I would like to call for the final speaker, for the speaker Sanjana, Toastmaster Shilpa Reddy to be there for the evaluation. Toastmaster Shilpa Reddy is an image consultant and a corporate coach who is a travel buff, and she loves music and enjoys riding bikes. So over to you, Toastmaster Shilpa.
Thank you so much. Can I see Sanjana spotlighted, please?
Sanjana, are you on camera? Can you come on camera? Yeah.
Thank you. So I remember you, TM Sanjana. I've heard you before. I remember your story of how you got into IIT from sports. Do you know why I remember you, Sanjana? Because you leave that impact on the audience, because you come up with your story so loud and confident. And I love that style of your speech deliveries. And it is indeed a pleasure and privilege to evaluate you, Sanjana. Because age and experience, in my opinion, has less weightage when compared to talent, courage, and persistence that you bring into your speech. Your focus and your intent to master your skill, it amazes me. Well, did you meet the purpose of understanding and addressing the conflict and resolving the conflict? Yes. And did you share your experience, which is also the purpose of the project? Yes, you did. But to stick to the rules and to make it really simple, I have 3 categories of feedback. One is I will explain you which you excelled at. Second one is which you can improve on, and what you can challenge on. So the first one which you excelled at is vocal variety. You brought that vocal variety with a role play, and it was very satisfying to listen to 2 roles from your way of giving speech. Your clarity is exemplary, and you're very comfortable on the screen. You sounded very confident, and which I liked the most about your speech. What you can improve on is pauses and the pitch of your voice. You have tried to lower your voice at in couple of instances, but you might want to work on it a little more. And also the second point is structure of the speech. You could have given more build-up of the conflict. You could have explained or described the characters a little more so that the audience can visualize those characters, 2 characters that you've introduced to us. You can work on that a little bit. And also towards the conclusion, you gave a resolution and you quickly jumped into the results of the story. So you could have dragged a little bit over there and given more of that story a little more. It would have given more effect. What I challenge you is to deliver your next speech in a much casual way, and appreciate if you can work on the eye contact that you have with the audience. On the contrary to the evaluation, I would want to add that what I've learned from your speech is the confidence you bring in your choice of the topic. You're amazing in articulating even the simplest story to the next level altogether. So to summarize, you got a style, Sanjana, you stick to it, but try bringing in a new angle. I promise you, you will have fun, and I can't wait to see more of your student side in your speeches. It is amazing experience for me to evaluate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa, for such a splendid evaluation. So you had started off by talking about how you like the previous speeches, and you had started on a very positive note about the speaker. You had also shared about very good points that you had liked, and you have given the suggestion also for the improvements. I would like to say that when you have talked about, let's say, about vocal variety for improvement, you could have suggested at what instance the vocal variety could have been better. Maybe at a specific instance of the speech that you could have, maybe you are given an example so that the speaker knows that maybe at those areas she can improve. And also what I liked was you had explained the structure of the evaluation to the speaker, that this I will be categorizing it, which is also a very nice way of putting it. And this is a very good evaluation. So thank you so much. For the speaker, when I saw your speech, when I listened to your speech and saw your speech, it reminded me of Ramona J. Smith, the world champion of 2018, who had used a similar gesture of boxing. And I could see the energy that is being profusing when you were giving the speech. So a very good way, actually. I could even see that you were physically tired when you were giving the speech. So that shows the intensity at which you were speaking. So that was a fantastic representation of body language that you had shown. What I would suggest you is that you had introduced the message of the speech very at the fag end of the meeting, which is at maybe cross 6 minutes or 5 minutes, 30 seconds. So you could have introduced a little bit earlier so that the audience has time to grasp through. So overall, a fantastic speech. Looking forward for more such speeches. Now, can I have the timers report for all the evaluators? Can you just let me know if they are qualified for the voting?
Thank you, General Evaluator. Only 2 evaluators were within the time, and 3 evaluators were out of time period.
Okay. So
I just shared the timing report in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't have voting since there are only 2 evaluators were qualified.
Yes.
Right? So
we can't have voting. Toastmaster Tata, we can have voting. Can you mention the names of those 2 who are well within time?
Toastmaster Anupama and Toastmaster Shilpa.
Okay, I'm launching the votes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, timer, for the fantastic report. Now I would like to provide the overall general evaluation of this meeting. So this meeting had started on time, and what I liked about the meeting was the Sergeant at Arms had introduced the meeting, and he had set the rules of the meeting. So you had mentioned about the rules, and you had started the meeting on time. What I would like to have one suggestion is that you can start with a maybe motivational quote or some of the maybe a little bit 2-liners so that you can motivate the audience. Because since you are the first speaker, you set this tone for the entire meeting. So if you could incorporate in that, I think that would be fantastic. So otherwise, a great job done. I also like the fact that in Gabby's Toastmaster, there is a mail also comes with the instructions in the Zoom, which I really liked it. Now coming to the timer. Now timer is very critical in any meeting. So the timer had done a fantastic job of tracking everyone's time. And you had also explained your role pretty well. You had also shown the screen, the cards as and when that was required. So that is a very fantastic way of doing it. So thank you so much, timer, for this. Next comes the presiding officer, which is the MC. So the MC and the presiding officer, you have introduced all the speakers pretty well, and you had done a very splendid job because you were very encouraging when you were speaking. And I believe that is the first time, and you did very great job for an MC. So I would look forward for future roles as an MC. And speakers and evaluators, I have already shared my evaluations with them. There's one feedback I got. Now the poster is fantastic. Whoever the PR has done it, I mean, it is hats off to the PR because it looks amazing, the poster. However, since this poster has a lot of details in it, sometimes it can become distracting when a speaker is coming or an evaluator is coming because you can see a lot of details behind it. So I would suggest you can show it in the beginning, but maybe towards maybe the fag end of the meeting when the speaker is not speaking, maybe you can spotlight it and you can show it off. It can be a plain background, in my opinion. Otherwise, a fantastic poster and it attracted the attention. So great job for that. Also, I would like to say that there is a QR code which had said, now I can see the QR code, but in the beginning, when the NC had mentioned it, I could not see the QR code. Where is the QR code where I can scan it? So I think that the QR code, I don't know if it is scannable. It is very small, but maybe you can look into that. So this is my general evaluation for this meeting. And I hand over back to the presiding officer.
Thank you so much, G, for an amazing evaluation. So a great session with so many speakers, so many evaluations, so many things to listen and learn from for everyone and from everyone. So now I'd like to, So now I'd like to ask for the feedback from our esteemed guest, if there's any. Any feedback from guests regarding the meeting, regarding the conduct of the meeting, regarding speakers, regarding the understanding?
Yeah, one feedback I would like to give. So you had conducted the poll for the speaker poll. So maybe you can mention that we are going to conduct a speaker poll. Let's have 1 minute so that people can give the vote. So what happened was when the transfer of control came to me, the voting came and I could not even see it. So before I could respond, then the voting went off. So maybe you can give 1 minute for everyone to give the votes, and then we can proceed to the next phase of the meeting. That would be my suggestion. Otherwise, fantastic.
Thank you so much for your valuable feedback. Any more feedbacks? Okay.
Hi, Joanne here. I just have a feedback for all of us. The speaker, order was changed at the last moment. I understand there must be some issues, but speakers were not informed about it because I thought I was speaker 4 and I went in to speak at number 3. I was not prepared for it. And I couldn't see who my evaluator was. So I think next time we should take care of this a little bit, that speaker order and the evaluator order does not create confusion at the last minute. But otherwise, fantastic meeting as usual.
Thank you so much, TM Joanne. Any other guest who'd like to give any feedback or any suggestion?
This is Dinesh, the guest.
Yes.
Okay, and I just want to say I'm really happy I attended the meeting. It was very engaging. I don't know where the last 1.5 hours kind of flew off. The topics were wonderful. The speakers were just wonderful. But what I really liked is the camaraderie in which the way you guys gel with each other. And that sometimes is very missing in clubs. It looks very act that people put up. Here, I thought the whole show that was presented was excellent. I just want to endorse the point that, I'm sorry, so the speakers were very good, the evaluators were very good. Everyone's very frank and straightforward, which is what a Toastmaster club requires. Because while you're giving the positives, you need to highlight the negatives. I want to just endorse the point that Joanne was making as well. As a viewer, I too was a bit confused because the title or whatever of the speaker said one number while you were calling another number. And so it was a bit confusing at that point of time, but then I kind of gathered towards tail end, it was what was happening. But wonderful. Keep up the show. I'm looking forward to more meetings with you guys.
Thank you so much for your feedback. Is there any other guest who'd like to give any suggestion or feedback? Okay, so now let's move on to the most interesting part of the meeting and the most awaited part of the meeting, wherein I'm going to announce who got the maximum votes for the speaker, evaluator, as well as the role taker. So any guesses as to who got the best speaker?
Sanjana.
Yes, Sanjana, Toastmaster Sanjana got the best speaker. So we can give her a huge round of applause for that. Okay, so moving on, the best evaluator, as there were only 2 evaluators, the best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Shilpa Reddy. Congratulations. And then the best role taker goes to me, the PO for the meeting. Thank you so much. So it was a spectacular meeting today. All thanks to all the speakers who made the meeting so interesting with their creative takes on the topics, and for the guests who stayed till the very end to hear all the speeches and the great evaluation given by the evaluators. Special thanks to all the guest role takers who have done such a fabulous job in excelling their roles. Looking forward to more such meetings and amazing speeches. We also have one meeting on Saturday planned with a great theme. Hope to see you all soon there. Thank you so much. Now the floor is open for all the participants and guests to network.